had my HSG test yesterday and the results came back totally normal. So that's awesome. I'm obviously glad that everything is normal. I do, you know, like still it's that part of you that like you want everything to be normal because you want it all to be fine, but at the same time you want there to be a reason for everything that's happening, so you hope that it gives you an answer. But I'm glad that everything's normal. I don't have an answer as to what is going on, but I'm hoping that my tubes will just be slicked up like water slides and everything will be great for this cycle. And if not this cycle, the next one or the next one, because I think it's the three months after are the best times to get pregnant after your HSG test. So hopefully that will help and everything will go great. But I just kind of wanted to tell you about the HSG test. So an HSG test is when they shoot dye up your tubes to see if your tubes have any blockages. So when I went to have this done, I didn't go to my doctor's office. I went to where the x-rays are taken, and a radiologist did my test. So when I walked in, the lady was really nice. She explained a lot of things to me, and it was really interesting because they told me not to eat or drink anything after midnight because they didn't want me to get sick. And I was like, why would I get sick? Because I just was kind of like, yeah, like they're gonna shoot some dye up there and like everything's gonna be great and like it's fine. And I mean, for me, it was fine. But apparently like it can be very painful. And so the lady was kind of talking to me and giving me a rundown, and she asked me if I had what I would consider really painful periods or really mild periods. And I said painful because in high school, I used to throw up every time I would start my period. I would be throwing up that day off and on. And I would have to leave school a lot of the time, and it was just a mess. So I was like, painful. I would definitely say painful. And she's like, okay, so this will probably be a breeze for you. She was like, sometimes we have some girls come in and they're like, oh yeah, like my periods are really mild, like I barely know they're happening. And she's like, and then they're screaming on the table, and I even had one bite me. And I was like, I hope my periods are as painful as I think they are. Because I was like, someone bit you? She said that the initial part would just feel like a pap smear. Then when they stuck the catheter up, I would be a little crampy. Then when the balloon started blowing up, then I would get really crampy, and then the dye would also make me really crampy. So I had all of that done, and it was very, very painless for me. It wasn't even a mild period for me, honestly. It was just kind of like, yeah, there's something going on down there. So I really hope that if you have to get it done, it is that way for you as well. But then when he took the speculum out so that they could then do the dye and continue with the procedure, the balloon came out too. And he was like, oh no, the balloon is messed up. And they like looked at the balloon, and she was like, I checked the balloon, and they checked it and the balloon was totally fine. So they were like, if we put it back up there and it comes out again, then we may be looking at an incompetent cervix, which I had never heard of before. But he said that if the balloon won't stay in there, then we might be looking at that, and then we'd have to look into that. But if it sticks up there, then it will be fine. So he does it again, and he also said the second time is normally easier than the first, and since I had no problems with the first, I probably wouldn't have problems with the second. So he did the whole thingy again, and then he was like, okay, so now I'm going to really make sure that the balloon's in there, and I'm gonna give it a really good tug. And I was like, okay. And he was like, this will probably give you some more cramps. And I was like, okay. So he pulled on it, I could feel it, and I did cramp up then. And then I was like, okay, like that's fine. And then he like really tugged on it, and my foot came off the stirrup because it was like a sharp, like instead of like a dull like cramp, it was like ping, and I was like, ah, and it like scared me more so than actually hurt. I mean, like it was, that part was like really crampy, like for a big, you know, just like a second, it was really cramped. But honestly, it more like surprised me and like scared me than it did actually hurt me. And so then he was like, whoa, 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 are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. It just like surprised me that it was like that sharp instead of dull. So he was like, okay, but you're good, you're good. And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine. I was like, we can keep going. I'm like, it's fine. And I was like, it's gone now. It was just that second. So they pull out the speculum, the balloon stayed in there, everything was great. Then he turned the screen so that I would be able to see it. He shot the dye up into my tubes and he was like, I'm just gonna shoot a little bit so that hopefully you don't get any cramps. And he shot just a little bit and my right tube immediately started filling up. And it's very like spirally, like he said, very few people have the picture perfect. You know, it honestly kind of looks like a long horn symbol where your uterus is here and then your tubes go out like this. He said very, very few people have the perfectly centered, perfectly straight tubes. So he said my right tube, like I could see was like really coily and stuff. And then my left tube wasn't filling up like right away. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna shoot a little bit more dye in there to make sure that the left tube fills up. And I was like, okay. So he shot a little more dye and then the left tube started filling up and he was like, well, you're crystal clear, everything's great. And I was like, okay, why did my right tube fill up so fast but my left tube didn't? And he said that my uterus is just slightly tilted to the right. And he said it's the same situation as what I just explained. Like very few people have the perfectly centered, perfectly straight tubes. So yeah, they told me that I might have some cramping throughout the day. I might need to take an ibuprofen or something like that, but I was totally fine. It just kind of was like a little weird, like, whoa, something went on down there, but that was it. Hey guys, this has nothing to do with cycles and trying to get pregnant, but it's something to celebrate, and so I thought you guys might want to celebrate it with me because I'm so excited about it. I had a student that I taught with VIPKid, and she sent me a package from China, and it has finally arrived. I've been waiting for like 2.5 months for this, even though honestly I feel like 2.5 months was pretty quick. I kind of expected it to be much longer with everything going on, but I'm gonna open it, and I thought you guys might want to see what's in it. Oh, this is them. This is her and her family. Okay, so I have taught, the girl's name is Alyssa. I have taught Alyssa, well, I'm not teaching her anymore, but I was teaching her, and I taught her for almost 3 years. It was like two and 7 months or something like that. I taught her. And I never saw her parents. I think I had seen everyone else's parents that I taught very consistently, but I never saw Alyssa's parents. And so now I'm finally getting to see her parents. These are some of her traveling pictures. They're not written on. I'm not gonna show you them because I don't want to put their faces on the internet without them wanting it. But this is so cool. So it looks like they went to some big mountain range. Honestly, it kind of looks like mountains in like a canyon. And they're standing on the bridge looking over at these mountains. And that's the first picture that I saw. And there's one of her by a waterfall and some mountains. And then there's one of her standing with a rock. I'm gonna cover her face. There's one of her standing, let's see if I can get this in the picture. I was like, I didn't know how to do it. There's one like this, and I'm not sure what the writing means, so I'll have to take a picture of it and see if I can translate it. But Alyssa loves to travel, and she talked about it all the time. And one of the interesting things about Alyssa is that we would finish our lesson. The lesson was 25 minutes long is what it was supposed to be, and you had 27-ish slides with like the first and the last slide just being like hello and goodbye. But Alyssa and I would finish our lesson in like 8 to 10 minutes, and the rest of the time we would just be talking about anything. Like we would talk about TikTok, we talked about makeup, we talked about like shampoo, conditioner, shaving cream, razors, you know, like all different things. that you would use like in the bathroom, in the kitchen, like all this different stuff. We talked about traveling a lot, and she loves to travel, and so obviously so do I. And so she would talk to me about traveling all the time. So she says, "Dear teacher, hello, I'm Alyssa. My Chinese name is blank," which I don't know how to say it. "I don't know when you will receive this letter, but wish you a Merry Christmas in advance. The box is our peanut candy. The black one is made of a special kind of plant which we have here. I hope you like it. Love you, Alyssa." Oh, so cute. Guys, look how neat her handwriting is. So neat. Oh, so sweet. I love this. Okay. So it's peanut candy. This is the one she was talking about, the black one. And then this one. So I think there's 3 different kinds, because this one and this one kind of look a little different. But it may just be the... Yeah! Sorry, my camera died. So I just wanted to share this care package with you because obviously it's special to me and I'm really excited, but also because I kind of wanted to jump into the video to give you guys a little bit of a timeline and a real life update, I guess. The videos that you watch are typically filmed a few months prior, and that's for one of 2 reasons. One, I have to finish the cycle before I can start editing and putting it together, and sometimes I pair it with another cycle if those 2 things go together. And 2, because I didn't actually start sharing until several months after the initial things started. So I had my first miscarriage in January, and then by the time I was kind of ready, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start sharing, I'm gonna start filming. Right when I started filming, I had my second miscarriage, and I really didn't expect that. And so that kind of set me back, where all of a sudden I didn't feel ready to share anymore because I wasn't ready to field the questions that I might get. And I didn't feel ready to talk about it all the time. So I kind of pushed it back a few months. So that's kind of why everything is also like a few months behind, because I didn't start sharing initially when it happened. But since I'm kind of doubling up on some of them, that is catching up closer to real time. So the rest of the video is about 2 months before this. And this part of the video, the care package part, is just after Christmas and right before New Year's. But when you watch it, it will be after New Year's because I have to edit it. So yeah, so I hope that makes sense. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of you that are messaging me on Facebook or messaging me on Instagram. I am so appreciative of your kind words after I release a video, and I love hearing some of your stories. I say I love as in I don't love that you're going through it, but I love that you are willing to share it with me. And I'm so thankful that, you know, you're telling me that these videos are helping you feel less alone, and I'm so grateful for that. But also keep sharing your stories with me if you haven't yet, because you also are making me feel less alone through this process. So I'm really grateful for you guys, and for all of you who haven't been through it, I'm thankful for you for asking how I'm doing. Feel free to ask me how I'm doing whenever. Honestly, I am not upset by those things, and I'm not bothered by people bothering me, as they may have referred to it before. But yeah, I'm doing okay, and so is Nick, and we are hoping for a really awesome 2021. I know a lot of us are, and I hope that, you know, when you guys see this, I hope you had a really great Christmas, and I hope you had a really great New Year, and I hope that the rest of your year goes really well, and all the things that you want to happen for you.